All right, so who are you becoming? In chapter two, they talked quite a bit about ways of being, and they reiterated how different coaching is from mentoring. The idea that we are intentional about our growth, we are intentional about how we approach a client, and we are thinking not only about our beliefs and our ways of being and how that's going to influence how we walk into this coaching discussion. I really like the one anecdote that Elena shared about walking into a meeting that she did not want to go to and knew that there was going to be something new presented, and she really didn't want to deal with any of that, but she decided she was going to be open. She was going to stick to her beliefs, her values, and her ways of being, and that completely changed the way that the meeting went for her. If she was to go in with the original feelings that she had, that was going to be a big a waste of time, likely for her and the presenters. And instead, she went in with an open mind. So being able to figure out that sometimes our emotions play a part and put up barriers for us and for our profession, and we get in our own way, that's extremely important. And this emotional intelligence, understanding that these emotions might get in the way, that's part of being a transformational coach, having and being intentional about, you know, being able to get better with understanding these things. So emotional intelligence is you're able to learn that and get better at it. And that's one thing that she mentioned in this chapter. The next part that I wanted to share were those five big dispositions that were discussed. And they were discussed mainly as a coach, so through the lens of a coach. So, how are you going to have compassion through the lens of a coach? Again, went back to that one teacher that maybe she didn't like the way that the teacher was being with students, but then instead of thinking, oh, what a terrible person, what a terrible teacher, she decided to really give the benefit of the doubt to the teacher that maybe she was feeling a certain way or, really wasn't being who she wanted to be. So you'll notice in that part of the chapter, she talked about, or asked questions to try to get to the heart of the issue, which really helped the teacher to reflect on that and figure out if it was matching her values, her beliefs, things like that. So that compassion was there. Curiosity, I'll be honest, this was something that really helped me as not only as a mentor or coach, but as a teacher. The curiosity to learn, to be open. And Elena, was vulnerable here again, and she does this quite a bit in the book and talks about how she thought she was open and honest or open to new things, but noticed that sometimes she really wasn't. And I think we all might fall victim to this every once in a while. For me, I just know that many times I just love doing the research ahead of time. So when something isn't working for me or something isn't working for my client, I'm wanting to research it quite a bit. So that curiosity is there. But sometimes, and this goes down to the humility piece, sometimes, and Elena says more often than not, we think we know way more than we do. And that's probably true as well. So being open and honest and having some humility about, what, maybe there's something else under this that's making this teacher or someone I'm coaching behave in this way that isn't working for them and isn't working for their students. So having the humility to understand that can also help us with our curiosity. So I think I'm going to go ahead and be open with this one. Courage is probably one that I struggle with the most, to be completely honest. I don't know that anybody really loves conflict. Maybe a few people do, probably my youngest son, but I just don't like it. So being able to have those difficult discussions and ask those questions that are going to bring up, some sort of introspection that might not be super positive for my client, those are the most difficult things for me. And I've had to work on that quite a bit. Being a professor, being um, a coach, being in that role and being able to facilitate a deep reflection on something that might not be working for a client. Um, those have been difficult, but it's something that I work on consistently. So trusting the process is what Elena Aguilar was talking about quite a bit, but in her original book, Trust, and I think will come up, I know will come up in further um, chapters. Trust wasn't only about trusting the process, but it was building trust with your client. And I think that's back and forth, right? Trusting the process has to rely on the trust between your client and you. And if your client does not trust you, they will not follow your advice. They won't really engage in a more open way. So trusting the process is a big thing, especially with coaching, because this is not a short-term fix. It is a long-term fix. So those are the types of things. So questions I had to ask you after you've read this, what do you think is going to be easiest for you out of these dispositions? For me, I really think that probably humility and curiosity were most easy for me, um, just because I'm always willing to learn more. Um, I've always been someone who, even if I feel like a teacher is not doing the right thing, I think there's something to learn from that person. Sometimes I think there's always a student that will get more out of another teacher than they would out of me because everybody's different. So I try to learn what it is that I can get from that person. But what is it for you? What's something that's going to be easy for you? And I already shared what's most difficult for me. So think through those, as you go, and that'll help you with your assignment as well. One thing that should be evident, crystal clear now for chapter 1 and chapter 2 is that there is alignment between you can go either beliefs, ways of being, and behaviors, or you can go values, identity, and behavior. All of these things need to be in alignment. And um, if you're thinking about who you want to be, the values, it's difficult to be able to say, these are my values, 1, 2, 3. And there's a tool that will be that I share with you that can help you figure out what your top 3 values are. And how you're going to incorporate those is going to be up to you. So the problem with this is there can be barriers. The barriers could be between your values and behaviors, where there's something institutional that is stopping you from getting your behaviors to match those values. Sometimes it's emotions that come up because you're possibly struggling with a skill that involves your performance. So if you are frustrated or just exhausted, possibly, those types of negative emotions can influence how you behave in your performance, whatever your performance is, whether it's teaching or theater or something that can really impact how you perform or how you behave. So thinking about this alignment and getting rid of or navigating these barriers in some way is super important as a coach, but also your client and being able to help your client navigate those same issues in their own performances. So what are we doing this week for your assignment? So hopefully you've already done your discussion board, but your assignment is going to really be getting into those values. So I've got the main 3 sections here that I wanted to just walk you through. This is all on Blackboard under your assignment for this module. So first thing you're going to do is figure out your 3 core values. You're going to use the core value tool, which is on Blackboard. So you're going to use that to help you. That is definitely a good way to do it. And I want you to really figure out, explain why it's important to you as a coach, educator, leader, director of an arts program, whatever you may be. Also, develop I want you to really connect this to a real experience that you've had, right? So where's this coming from? What made this important to you? I love reading these. These are great because they really show me who you are and how you're going to develop as a coach. The next thing is connecting values to transformational coaching. So you can consider these questions here. You can go off on a different question, but it's really important to connect it to chapters 1 and 2. And I'll be honest, this is where your citations are big. So make sure you put those citations in APA style, please. And then the last part is really just to end with this sentence stem here as a transformational coach and leader. And if you're not going into teaching, you can change this word transformational coach and arts director. I aspire to, and then that thoughtful paragraph showing how your core values will guide interactions with those you serve. Okay, so that's about it for chapter 2. Definitely read the chapter 2 is packed full of really important things. So make sure you get a good read of that if you haven't already. Hopefully you have. All right. Thanks so much. And I will see you. I'll see you next chapter.